The virtual worlds were usually termed as a fantasy for future generations. But this current year is the future that the tech giants forecasted since long back. The adaptation of virtual world games was being worked on, but it picked up the pace in the past couple of years. And the growth won't stop anymore. What is virtual world and what you must know? Virtual worlds are three-dimensional environments where you can interact with others and also create objects as a result of that interaction. People who have less knowledge of virtual reality often question this outcome. The answer is that you will be entering the virtual world as an avatar. The avatar will be the visual representation of you within that world. This virtual avatar can take any form or shape, depending on your wish. There are several types of virtual worlds that you can choose from. The options include sport, historical, science fiction, and fantasy. Some view this virtual avatar can take any form or shape, depending on your wish. There are several types of virtual worlds that you can choose from. The options include sport, historical, science fiction, and fantasy. Some virtual worlds are designed just like real ones, while the others are just fantasies, but still enhance the experience to the next level. The best thing about these virtual worlds is that they have no connection with the real world. In virtual worlds, the men can choose an avatar of a female or vice versa, and do much more things that her fantasy calls for. Everything you do around the virtual world will add to your experience. Most of the games that enable the virtual world feature have mostly added the communication modes. You can use graphical images, gestures, text-based content, and sound as a mode of interaction. Apart from that, if you are entering into an advanced virtual world, you can also use your touch or voice to interact with other game members. The examples to virtual world games. Today, many games or virtual worlds already exist around humankind. Some of the famous names include The Sims, ActiveWorlds, Caneva, AMBU, and Second Life. There is something common in all of these worlds: they allow people to meet, interact, and chat with other people in that world at the moment. Every world is destined to continue even when someone leaves it. And that is a similar concept adapted for the virtual world as well. When the person enters a virtual world and makes some changes, all of it remains even after she is gone offline. This is the real-world concept being implemented in the virtual platform. Certain virtual worlds don't allow multiplayer access. Some of the virtual worlds allow just one avatar, while all of the other characters within the world will be NPCs, non-playing characters. Games are accountable as just one product of this technology, but there is more to it. Online virtual worlds are being used for the aspects of education and research as well. You all must have heard about the virtual classroom. It is a classroom completely based upon interactions, which allows students to try new and unique things in a safe environment. Hence, these are a few evident uses and examples of virtual world called to existence real-time. Differences between virtual worlds and virtual reality. There are many individuals out there who might be having a bit of confusion between virtual reality and the virtual world. Both are remarkable technological innovations that will be in existence for a long time now. But both of these concepts are different from one another. Virtual reality is making a comeback, and the virtual worlds are now being rebranded as the form of VR. There is nothing wrong with this rebranding, as the virtual worlds are naturally fit for implementing virtual reality. But VR is more than just a virtual world, with additional immersion. Here are some differences to help you understand the clear difference between virtual worlds and virtual reality. 1. 3D effect is quite natural with virtual worlds. The user is not into the game, just for the sake of identifying the avatar on her screen. But the user is actually inside the avatar while entering the virtual world. There is no more necessity of including any cognitive leap to think of the virtual world as the real time. Therefore, the 3D effect for the virtual world games is more natural than that of the virtual reality games. 2. Forced first-person perspective, FPP, view in. In virtual world games, the camera is not meant to just loiter around the avatar's shoulders, zoom in/out, fly around, zoom in/out the displays or objects, or stay still for the pre-animated scenes. It is because, as you are the avatar, any unnatural camera movement will destroy the immersion within the game and will enhance the vertigo distortion. This will make the user go nauseous. The forced FPP view gives rise to the subjective virtual experience. It means that as the user is at the center of this virtual experience, everything around the virtual world is flying at the player and not at the avatar. It is not the case with that of the virtual reality concept. You can change your viewing perspective in the settings to enable proper control over the avatar. Today the technology intends to combine virtual reality and the world by setting it together for the best gaming experience. It allows individuals to go beyond what is called the usual gaming. These differences are now being implemented to work, and soon, there will be loads of things for virtual gamers to explore. Perks of having virtual world games. The perks or advantages of having a virtual world are pretty much limited to that of creators' imagination. Physical laws and all of the social restraints always limit the everyday reality. But virtual reality is destined to have quite an enhanced amount of possibilities that you cannot even imagine doing in real life. With virtual reality, the possibilities can be termed endless. The virtual world is the base or foundation for technology. And virtual reality is the idea that develops games within that world and allows this world's user to get an extraordinary experience. Some of the perks that you experience upon playing virtual games include: reduce your stress levels. As you are stressed with your day-to-day lives, it is time you should escape from the real world and give time to the virtual games in order to get relieved from that stress. The real-world anxieties won't follow you inside the virtual world. And you can spend your leisure time wandering around that virtual space and interacting with other players. Relief from chronic habits. If you have a habit of playing virtual games, you would eventually leave behind your chronic drug addiction, fear and others. With these virtual world games, you will be able to take off the worries from your head without the need for any external substance. Playing virtual reality games is cheaper than buying medications, drugs, or other substances. Promotes fitness. Virtual world games are not just destined to give you enjoyment, but it also demands you to make physical movements. You will actually walk, run, interact with gestures, and do the sword swings as well. It will be you who will be performing these actions in real life, while your virtual avatar will be mimicking it in the virtual world. So, this will eventually help you stay fit as well. These perks state that gaming is not always a bad addiction, but it is essential to appreciate technology and use it for the better at times. The need for powerful computer and controllers for playing virtual world games. The virtual world games embedded with virtual reality technology involve more graphics and motion tracking potential. Therefore, it needs a powerful PC or a gaming console that is compatible to run VR games efficiently. You can consult the experts to get help in choosing the right PC or console for playing the games within the virtual world for kids or adults. You might also need to get some powerful controllers that are compatible with the headset that you purchase. Hand controllers will enable you to get into the game and mimic all of your real-life actions inside the game. You need to be sure that you have got the compatible controllers and have got them tested before trying in the game. You don't want to get disappointed if they fail to work. So, look for those aspects before you buy them. There are much virtual reality and virtual world games available out there. If you already have an existing VR headset, then it is important that you should look for games that are compatible with it. The headsets keep on changing and evolving every year. So, if you are a fanatic of virtual games, count on changing the VR headsets every year and upgrading to modern ones. This suggestion is important for you to consider because the new games won't work on older VR sets. Therefore, if you have a wish upon playing game of modern day, you need to get the right gear. Final words. The introduction of this simulation environment is turning out to be addictive for game lovers across the globe. The addiction prevents the players from coming out from what those worlds offer, which is a sign that the person lacks control. Addiction management is essential while you work or play anything at any time. Virtual games can be addictive, and you need to find ideal habits to blend with your gaming hours to avoid them. Despite that, this innovation has encouraged the world to enjoy the fruitfulness of technical growth worldwide. And that is what is essential for highlighting the potential of virtual worlds games.